Alright, so day one, the first leg to Salt Lake City, as we prefer to move this beast of a truck as it tows our car. And we got closing on the 9th of October 2024, and today is Sunday the 6th. So should be there in 3 days. Buckle up. Alrighty, also another fill up in this beast so far. It's almost 80 and going strong. Right. Not too bad though. But yeah, right at 80. Real kind of sore from yesterday, the hot chocolate and headed to Boise. Alright, so the trailer was really close to the hitch by the gas pump, and man, I was really nervous about pulling out, but we had not even 2 inches to spare, so another minor disaster avoided. Alrighty, stopping a little past Boise, and I don't know, I've been to Boise numerous times, but I almost missed all of the gas stations, just kind of zoned out. But this one right here is pretty empty. Pretty simple to get this big truck over here, Okay, so finally made it to Salt Lake in one piece, but man, getting here in the parking lot, rookie mistake, didn't really know how to park this thing, so I tried to swing into one of those spots over there because it looks like it was big enough, but man, my heart was racing. It literally took me probably 15-20 minutes just to finally get parked, but I got it figured out, and I'm gonna go in here and get about probably 5-6 hours of sleep because I'm heading to Lincoln tomorrow, and I anticipated getting into town before the sunset, but I mean, pulling this big thing down the road, I mean, there are just so many things that came up. For instance, earlier the tow hatch came loose, lost some time trying to figure that out, and also I finally figured out about probably this last start of the trip that these things, you can run them to about 65 or 70. I think the first half of the trip I was driving so slow, so I think that's why I'm so far behind, but I think tomorrow will be a better day. But signing off, first day, Salt Lake City. Alrighty, so day 2, quick turnaround last night, but got to get back on the road so I can get to where I'm trying to get to on time. So got, I think, 11 or 12 hours of driving, and probably going to lose an hour as I head towards the central time zone, but off to Lincoln, Nebraska. Alright, so I'm refueled and got my hot chocolate. Usually start the day only really on road trips and stuff with hot chocolate. I don't really drink coffee. Coffee makes my head hurt with my wife. That's like one of her favorite things. But all set. Got some water, some orange juice for maybe later on. Alrighty, so I'm in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, another fuel fill up. Gas hadn't really been bad though. And in the midst of doing that, I've been making it a habit to check these straps over here. So this one right here, still pretty tight. And yesterday, at that one stop, I didn't even know how to put it back on, but now I do, and it seems like it's tighter now than when the guy put them on when I was in Portland. But anyway, at our favorite truck stop, I mean, Holly and I, we've traveled all over the U.S. Love's is by far our favorite. And stopping here for probably a few minutes, then getting back on the road, heading to, I think, Cheyenne. Alright, so just left out a Subway just to grab my sandwich and chips. And usually they have them at the truck stops, but for some weird reason here in Nebraska, this one's basically overall by itself. And it's, luckily it's vacant because there's generally no place to park it, but since I'm the only customer, it all worked out. But alrighty, y'all, so just arrived in Lincoln, Nebraska, Corn Husker Nation, and this will be setting up shop for the night. And got here kind of late. Most of the trailer spots are going to park like right along this fence post right here, but the guy said it's fine. I'll be leaving first thing in the morning anyway, heading to Tennessee finally. Alrighty, y'all, so pretty quick turnaround, but still overall a really nice night. Getting ready to hit the road again, so making sure my straps are good. That's tight. And this one right here is the one that's giving me the most problems. And it feels like it's still pretty good. Alrighty, so finally, off to my final stop, Nashville. Alrighty, so a first quick stop. Can't start the day without the hot cocoa. And I think next I'm heading towards Missouri and getting pretty close here. So let's go. Probably about 40, well, no, probably like 20 miles outside of Columbia, Missouri. I passed by Arrowhead Stadium, which is right off of the freeway. And that was pretty cool because I think Monday Night Football was there yesterday. But getting some more gas, and then from here, they're going to be going through St. Louis, and shouldn't be too much longer after that, maybe a few hours. So this is day 3, and by far, I was looking forward to it the most because it was going to be the shortest on the route. Alrighty, so finally made it to Nashville in one piece, and minus some minor mishaps on the way here. It was a pretty smooth arrival. I had a hotel booked, probably maybe 5 miles down the road, but once I got there, they didn't have parking for the U-Haul, and also it just wasn't the best fit, so I canceled that one, and I'm at the Holiday Inn and Express, and so that'll work out pretty good for tonight. And yeah, by far the best day out of the 3 as far as the travel. And so tomorrow's, it's game time, go time, and so I'll break everything down to you and let you know what's going on. Alrighty, y'all, so it is finally closing day, and when we were going through the process to get ready to buy the house, we noticed as we got towards the end, our timeline didn't quite line up with the seller's timeline. So he was looking to move and sell about a week before, maybe about a week and a half before we were ready. And so we knew at the very minimum I would need to fly out to Tennessee by myself for the closing process. And then after we went through all of that, we were trying to figure out how to get all of our stuff to Tennessee. So we looked into pods. That didn't really seem like it would work for what we needed. What we really wanted to do, we wanted to hire a moving company, pick up all the stuff, and then us drive down. But there was really 2 problems with that. First one was they were extremely expensive. I don't know if you've ever moved across the country, but you probably see ads on social media. Hey, move from Seattle to Miami, $1,500 bucks. I can tell you, once you really start drilling into that, getting all the details, you realize that that's not really true. That would barely cover fuel costs. So second part is they couldn't necessarily guarantee that my inventory would be there in a timely fashion. I've heard stories where sometimes people's stuff arrived two or 3 weeks later. And in my case, that just wasn't going to work because I wanted to put my stores on vacation for 2 weeks, and that was the stint that I wanted to do. I didn't want to go any longer than that. And so we X'd out the moving company. And so then we were at a standstill. Okay, how are we going to get our stuff to Tennessee? So one night we were laying in bed and Holly brought up the idea, you have to go to Tennessee anyway. Instead of flying, why don't you just rent a truck, pour your car, and drive to closing? Initially it sounded kind of crazy, but the more I thought about it, I was like, that actually sounds like a pretty good idea, because I would need to come anyway, and it's basically would be killing two birds with one stone. And so as I did more research, looked into that, that's what we decided to do. And so that's what you guys have been seeing me do the last 2 or 3 days. So I'm coming to closing, and then right after closing, I'm going to be taking the U-Haul, my car, to our house, and Holly hired a couple of movers to unload the truck once I get there. So the plan is, once we actually drive down as a family about a week or so later, is for the house to be basically about 50% set up. So I want to get the beds and stuff set up, get the boxes put in their adequate places, because if you've ever moved with 5 kids, the biggest problem is getting to the house and stuff is just everywhere. So we're trying to avoid that as much as possible, and I think I'll be able to do that because I'll have at least a good 14 hours to get everything done, because my flight doesn't leave until tomorrow evening. So once closing's over, which should be early this morning, we'll have basically all day today and half a day tomorrow to really get things going in the right order. And then lastly, as we were getting ready to pack up all of our stuff in Oregon, we tried to Holly cut to the bone. It was kind of funny seeing people show up at the house there from Facebook Marketplace to pick up all the stuff that she basically just gave away for free. But even after doing that, all of my inventory still wouldn't fit. I have a 4,500 item eBay store, and we moved stuff around, and it just wasn't going to fit, basically, is what it came down to. So once I fly back to Oregon, I'm actually going to get a trailer, maybe like a little small trailer that we can pull with our van, and that should be able to get the rest of my stuff to Tennessee. I was able to get probably maybe 30 to 50% of the stuff, but there was still some stuff that just wouldn't fit no matter how we wiggled and moved stuff around. And so we got basically about 90% of the way through. So we're going to close today, unload today, flying back home tomorrow, and then once we come back as a family, I'll pull the rest of my stuff with the trailer, and then we'll be off and running. Alrighty, also, it's official. We're residents of Tennessee now. Just left closing. And the people we worked with on this deal were just absolutely amazing. Made the process super seamless. And I had talked to the lender and the realtor on the phone, and they were just as amazing in person as they were when I was just talking to them long distance. And so right now, I'm going to go out to the property and get the car unhooked, and then we're going to have... My wife's had, I think his name's Rick. He's going to be meeting me out there with a couple of his guys to get the truck unloaded. So the closing, it finished up, man, not even an hour and a half. So we should be completely unloaded early afternoon. So I'm going to have more time than I initially thought to get everything set up, which is going to be a huge blessing. But alright, so 2,400 miles later, finally got U-Haul here, car here in one piece, house right here, garage, and the backyard back here that the kids are going to absolutely love. This is the selling point of the house. Got a huge backyard back here for the kids to run around in. So it's going to be pretty nice. Bunch of farmland out there in the back. Alright, so not bad at all. Got the car successfully off of the trailer. That literally took not even 5 minutes. But you kind of take the wheels off of the straps, put the ramp down, and now got to tackle removing the trailer from the truck. So once the movers get here, we can access this ramp right here so we can easily get everything off. Alright, so after a little bit of effort, this was a little bit more tricky, but finally got the ramp detached, or the trailer detached from the truck, and now we can access the ramp to be able to unload everything. And it's gonna be a pain in the butt trying to get this to line back up, but sure, with a little bit of effort it'll probably go right back on there, but I already know that's gonna be a challenge. Alright, so we're just working through issue after issue. Got the car unhooked, the trailer unhooked, finally got the ramp down, and you can see we're packed to the brim. It's gonna make it so much easier to be able to just walk up, get the stuff. And I was trying to get all this done so once the movers get here, they're not wasting their time trying to unhook everything, get the ramp down. But there is one last issue that we have to try to work through, because the movers are on their way now, and it's getting the garage door to open. So the previous owner, he bolted back to Texas, but I don't think he left a code to open the garage. And so my wife reached out to the realtor, and they're trying to get that figured out now. So I'm hoping that by the time the unloaders get here, the garage will be open and we can just put things in their appropriate place, like I was talking about earlier today. Alright, so after going inside and kind of just sifting and sorting, finally found an alternate button to open up the garage. And so now we're just waiting for the movers to get here, and then I think we can have everything unloaded within probably no more than like 2 hours. So alright, so they should be here, my wife said, in maybe 30 minutes or so. But I'm not just going to stand around and do nothing while I'm waiting on them, so I must just start unloading some of the stuff into the garage on this appliance dolly right here, which makes it super simple. Okay, so the movers just left. Super helpful. It didn't really take us long at all, probably maybe an additional hour with the stuff that I had unloaded, so probably 2 hours tops. And the truck is completely empty now. And so yeah, I put the trailer back on. I don't even think I'm gonna bother trying to put the car back on. I think I'm just taking an Uber back to the house. I don't really feel like messing with all of that. But yeah, everything's come full circle. So alrighty, y'all, so it's a brand new day, and yesterday was pretty productive for the most part. Got everything unloaded, was able to get most of the beds and stuff set up here so the house isn't an absolute wreck by the time my wife and kids get here. Was able to return the truck without too much of a hassle, and now I'm going to take an Uber to Nashville so I can catch my flight back to Oregon. Once I get there, we still have a handful of days to hang out, do any last things that we need to do before we hit the road here after that. But I wanted to document this part of the journey, this part of the story. So I appreciate you guys for coming along with me, and I'll catch you guys right back here on the next video.
This might be all that I know. Think it's okay. I've got a long way to grow. At my own pace. Go the long way. No one taught me how to walk, but I figured it out fine.